The makers of Persil welcome you to Australia's biggest and brightest quiz. And to give the money away, we give you Jack Davy.
Welcome to the Persil Show. Give it a go. Our contestants are lined up for our quick snatch and grab game of 10 shillings a time, so let's get straight down to work. It's Mrs. Dalton and her husband, Mr. Dalton. The capital of Queensland is...
Brisbane.
You see, it's so easy. She grabs first and then makes up her mind. It's Mr. Crowley and Mr. Crowley, brothers, of course. An ex-Australian boxer was known as Vic... Patrick. There! Hey, Joe, that's what I call a left hook. That was very good, very good. It's Mr. Wood and his father-in-law, Mr. Sharrod. A nautical mile is known as a... Knot. Knot is right. It's Mrs. Walker and her sister-in-law, Mrs. Jurott. Film star David Daniel Kominsky is better known as Danny...
Kite.
Yes, that's that. And so to the next one.
The idea is I'll give you a well-known person's Christian name, and I want you to give me their surname. Their Christian names will be unusual. If I said Wolfgang, your answer would be Mozart. Got the idea? Horrible, isn't it?
Terrible.
Yes, and it doesn't get any better. Oh, you'll hate this one. Winston Churchill. Yeah. Very good. Give the gentleman a cigar. Right up close. Primo or Primo.
Sorry, I heard that.
You did? At least you're honest. I can't do anything about it. Would you have known it?
No.
Oh, you're very honest, aren't you? See what you've done, sir? You made an awful mess of this. I'll have to give you an extra one. I'll have to make up one. Irving.
I don't know it.
You don't know it?
No.
It was Berlin, Irving Berlin. Too bad. Gave you 2 chances. Adolf?
Mussolini.
Mind you, you might laugh, but he had the right association of ideas. Adolf Mussolini and Benito Hitler. Spencer? Don't say the garbage man.
Tracy.
Tracy's right. Yes, sir. Tracy is correct. Uriah?
What was he, Jack?
Oh, he was a big lump of a fellow. Heap big muscle, you know.
Never heard of him, Jack.
Well, you did just then. Uriah Heep. Well, we got through the first lot. It wasn't that difficult. Right up close, the answer to every question is something new. For example, January the 1st is New Year's Day. That's not your question. They're not quite as easy as that. Name given to a person who's just started school, college, or such.
New pupil.
You didn't have to tell me you went into a trance to figure that one out.
Make it easy, son.
Make it easy. They're all easy. It's
Good
the
on you,
answers
son.
that are hard. The questions are so simple. The state bounded by Victoria, Queensland, and South Australia is...
New South Wales, Jack.
I was going to ask for the answer in Chinese, but he got away too quickly. New South Wales was right. You're next. The expression you associate with an infant who has just come into the world.
New baby?
Well, yes, I suppose you're right, yes. Honey, it's got a title. As innocent as a...
Newborn.
Babe. Right,
Right.
that's correct, yes. A newborn babe, a new baby. You can't get old babies. This is going to be a little different. I'm going to give you the answer. You ask me the question. For instance, if I said the answer is 2, you'll say, yes, what is 1 and 1? Come right back here. That's only a sample. All right, the answer is green. Ask me the question so that I can answer green.
What's the name of a paint?
Well, if I told you, I'd be giving somebody an advertisement. But if you said, what is the color of a certain paint that goes on something?
Well, what is the color of a certain paint starting with G?
Gray. Come on, keep at it. You've never heard of grass?
Oh, yes.
Right. Now, it's a little bit easy.
You know the colour of tree leaves, don't you? What colour are they? Oh, I made them blue now, perhaps.
No, you haven't.
In the spring, we'll say.
In the spring, green. Oh, what an effort. It's hardly worth it, you know. It's hardly worth it. Fence. Ask me a question.
What used you to jump when you were a little boy?
Yeah, I can see this could lead to awful trouble. I'll say fence. Thank you. With a figure like mine. And right up close. The 25th of April.
Anzac Day? Oh. What day does Anzac Day fall on?
The 25th of April. Your answer is swimming.
What did you do in the water?
Now, dear, you've got to ask me a question. You've got to ask me a question to which I can answer the word swimming, you see?
Where did you go last Sunday?
Yeah. Correct? She's right. Where did I go last Sunday? Swimming. That's right. She's okay. Oh, yes, I went swimming. But I had to think for a little while. I wasn't sure where I was last Sunday. Right up close. The answer is coat.
What are you wearing now?
Well, coat, but would you tell the people listening in that I've gone a whole lot further than that, actually?
Time for Pick a Box with Australia's favourite compere, Bob Dyer. And here's the man himself, your host, Bob Dyer.
Thank you, customers, and welcome to the new look BP Pick-a-Box. Ah, yes, a great night tonight. New sponsors, new scenery, new boxes, a lot of new prizes, a lot of changes, but I have a confession to make. Dolly and I are still the same. I know you're going to like our new BP Pick-a-Box, customers, because there are 12,000 pounds worth of prizes in the new BP boxes to be won by any one contestant and an unlimited amount of cash. I believe in my book that makes it the richest quiz on the air. Anyway, I hope you like it. Later on in the show, we'll begin our fourth 1,000-pound challenge. And, of course, there's big news right here. Customers, don't miss a word of this. Now, you will be able to pick a box at home. Every listener and every viewer will have an opportunity of picking a box at home. More about that later. But right now, let's go over and meet my good right hand and that clever bloke from Melbourne, the school teacher, Barry Jones. Hello, Barry.
Glad to be here with you.
Thanks for coming back to the show, Barry. Doll, I think we ought to bring everyone at home up to date on Barry's activity.
Yes, Bob. Well, Barry flew up from Melbourne only this morning, but he tells me he's ready for the fray.
All right, we'll see how we
I'm
go.
as ready as I'll ever be.
Barry, how many boxes have you picked?
10.
And one in the offing yet to be discovered, right?
I'm sorry, I've picked 10. I've won 9.
All right. I have a little list here of the ones that you've won. I'd like to list them for you. You started off by picking that dream box of Slazenger sporting equipment. That was your first box. And then you won a set of Wolf Safety Master home workshop equipment.
Yes.
And then you won a Singer automatic 319 sewing machine for a bachelor. And a complete Hanamex Seconic home movie outfit. You won a Bendix automatic gyromatic home laundry, a bachelor. You won a complete Anthony Squires wardrobe, not a bachelor very long. A treasure trove of jewelry fashioned by the House of Hawk, a Pi 23-inch television receiver, Ferndale Tuscan English bone china and rod, brocade cutlery, and the last box you picked was a real stinker. It was an authentic hand-stitched
Potholder.
potholder. That's quite right. Well, we didn't bring it to show it to everyone tonight, but it's up to you to decide. I'm sure you're going on, are you
Yes,
not?
I'd like to go
All
on.
right, let's carry on and ask you your first list of 5 questions here. Who wrote under the pen name of Carmen Silva?
Queen Mary of Romania. Mary Elizabeth of Romania. She
lived from about 1840 on until about the 1920s. She's a cousin of the British royal family.
What was her dog's name?
I can't remember.
You said, I don't know, you said Queen Mary, and then you said Queen Mary Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth was the full name.
Elizabeth is the full name. I will pay that 100%. What Christian sect was founded in 1648 by George Fox?
Well, it was that was the Quakers, although...
That's all I want. That's all I want. I'll save your breath. What is the capital of Nepal?
Kathmandu.
Right. In which continent is the Ivory Coast?
Africa.
Right. To what form of rock does the word marmoreal apply?
What form of rock?
Yes. The word marmoreal, M-A-R-M-O-R-E-A-L.
Well, it's a kind of a volcanic rock formed by intense pressure and heat. And
I'm afraid I can't pay that. Marble is the answer, or marble-like variegated rock. And I don't know if volcanoes might have had something to do with it, but not generally accepted as such. 4 out of 5. I think that'll be a pretty good score. Well, now,
Quiz Kids on Parade with your favorite show. Now's the time for answers to things you want to know.
Johnson & Johnson, makers of Johnson's Baby Powder, the famous Tech toothbrush and Band-Aid adhesive bandages, welcome listeners on 57 stations throughout Australia
To the Quiz Kids Show.
Here now is Quizmaster John Deese.
Thank you, John Pierce. Good evening, everyone. Here we have the Quiz Kids back in the Macquarie Auditorium after the excitement of their Broken Hill trip, an experience which will certainly live in their memory. In tonight's Quiz Kids team, we have 2 regular girls, Alana Conlon and Lynn Garstang, 2 regular boys, Ross Clark and Robert McCrossan, and in the 5th place, we've invited again 12-years-old Gavin Frost, as he's impressed us with his guest appearances. In the Spelling Championship, champion Edward Oliver returns to the program to be challenged by 14-years-old Kay Thorpe of Broken Hill, who scored 16 out of 16 in both the programs up there, but more of that later. Now, we'll have a round of Australian questions with the Quiz Kids. Ross, if Sydney was the first of the state capitals founded, which was the second? The second of the state capitals founded, yes?
Hobart.
Hobart is right, Alana. And Alana, which came third? Which of the state capitals?
Brisbane.
All right, Robert, which was fourth?
Melbourne.
No. There was one ahead of Melbourne. Go on, Alana.
Perth.
Perth is right, yes, that's got it. Now, Lynn Garstang, what is principally mined at Mount Isa in Queensland?
Tin.
What would you say, Ross?
Silver and lead.
Silver, lead, and zinc. In other words, much the same as in Broken Hill. Similar type of ore, eh? That's fine. And, Gavin, the biggest of New South Wales' northern rivers is the Clarence, a mighty stream. What is its biggest town? The biggest town or city on the Clarence is... Robert?
Grafton.
Grafton is right, yes, that's 5 out of 5 for our Australiana. Now I'll test the Quiz Kids on questions submitted by listeners from all over Australia. Later we shall be announcing which one of these was chosen by the judges for the special prize given for the question of the week. Ross Clark, Master Robert Scambler of Moe, Gippsland in Victoria asks you, what do you know about the word cactoblastis?
Just as a guess, I'd say it was something to do with the prickly pear.
Does that touch off a chord in your memory, Alana?
It's not that insect that they imported to do away with it, is it?
All right, you're quite right.
Castrol Motor Oil, over a network of 68 stations throughout Australia, presents Leave It to the Girls with Terry Dear.
Let's leave it to the girls. Let's leave it to the girls. If you've a problem puzzling you and you don't know just what to do, ask Terry Dear to help you.
Thanks, Keith, and hi, everybody. Johnny Lockwood is back. Yes, Johnny Lockwood is back as our guest tonight, and I'm sure that'll give a lot of pleasure to so many people who remember his previous appearances in The Girls, and of course his Tivoli shows, too. He's the man who came for 10 weeks and stayed here for 4 years. Johnny, where have you been recently?
Oh, I've just finished a tour of North Queensland after coming back from New Zealand. I'd like to say it's nice to be back in the program again, Terry. I like this program, you know, because I do think that to ask, you know, to answer other people's questions, it gives you a chance to just, you know, doesn't it? I never get a question answered.
You do know the idea of the show, though, Johnny?
Oh, I do, yes. I mean, people ask you questions, and you've got to take a firm hand with these things, haven't you?
Indeed.
I mean, when I got married, I got up the first morning first, and I went into my wife and I gave her a breakfast in bed. I gave her toast, eggs and bacon. I cooked them and I said, do you like that? She said, yes. I said, well, that's how I want it every morning.
Good, Johnny. It's nice to have you back with us. Well, here's our panel, Carolyn Bunsen, Josephine O'Neill, Gwen Plum, and our show. Here's the first letter from South Australia, and it's signed Concerned Co-workers. This is the detail. It says, what can we do about an office wolf? He's nearly 50 years of age, married and a grandfather, and thinks he's 20 and fancy-free. He's tried to make a date with all of us and hasn't succeeded. However, one of our girls, also married with one teenage daughter, is very impressed with him and is meeting him outside the office after work. Although they've been caught several times by the boss and have been threatened with instant dismissal if they continue with this association, but they continue to act like a couple of lovebirds. And we're tired of seeing them always together holding hands as they ignore the gossip about themselves. We ridicule them, but they only laugh. The strange part of this is that our co-worker pretends friendship for the man's wife, who has a bad heart, and then tells us that she dislikes her. We're all tired of his advances and of this silly girl's attitude. Can you help us to put this middle-aged Casanova back into his box? Gwen Plum.
No, you can't do anything very much. You can disapprove of his wolfing about the office, which is most unpleasant to have to grapple with. And you can disapprove of this girl betraying the woman she considers a friend, or she treats as a friend, his wife. It's very bad, but that's entirely their outlook.
That it's their responsibility.
Their
if
responsibility.
They choose to carry on like that, the office people should and can do nothing about it.
No, they can only do very slight things, Terry, like showing their disapproval and like sort of more or less sending them to Coventry or something like that. But I don't think they can do anything very active. The only thing I would suggest to the girls is foul up everything they have to do with him. If they type his letters, send them out with blocks out of them and misspelt, bad punctuation, lose his papers, hide his typewriter, get away with his ink rubber and ruler, you know, make life miserable for him like that.
Yes, well, that's a good way of ignoring the whole subject, isn't it? Yes. Well, thank you, Gwen. Carolyn.
I think this sort of thing must be awfully hard on office morale, and goodness knows what it does for Australian productivity when this sort of thing is going on in offices. But I'm rather amused by...
It's gone on in workshops and factories and sports
anywhere,
grounds and everything for a long time.
It went on in caves, let's face it.
And still does.
Please.
This is a wolf, not a caveman. I'm rather amused by this woman's comment that he's nearly 50 years of age, and therefore he should be sort of out of the running. I don't see that he's that old, that he's lost his interest in the opposite sex, and perhaps she's overdoing it. Perhaps she's making too much of this man. He might be one of these jokers in the office, you know, who go around casually flirting with the girls, and he can be quite harmless about it. I wonder whether she's not a bit of a fusty old thing and being too disapproving of what...
Do you think there might be an element of sour grapes in this letter,
yes,
too?
She might be the one person in the office who wasn't asked.
She didn't get behind the right filing cabinet at the right time.
I love that phrase, she wasn't asked. That's the end. Johnny Lockwood.
Well, as you say, Terry, it's been going on for years in all offices and in all other jobs in life. Personally, I don't think that unless it affects them personally or their work, that it's anything to do with anybody in the office. If these two want to flirt...
Well, that's the association as far as the...
Well, if it isn't affecting anybody else personally, if it is, of course, they're entitled to say something. In any case, to me, instead of leaving this to the girls, it looks as though they can leave it to the boss, because he's threatened with instant dismissal if they continue with their association. So it looks as though they'll both get the tin tax soon.
All right, well, summing it up, it looks if the girl concerned wants to make something of this and talk about it, you shut her up by either direct means, saying we don't wish to discuss it, or you can send it to Coventry if you want to. As far as the, well, this association between them, well, that's their baby. It's not yours. Don't worry about it. And as far as you're concerned, Johnny, you think that leave it to the boss, so you'll fire them both before they're through.
That's what I think.
Too far. All right, well, thank you very much indeed.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
Introducing the thrilling adventures of The Shadow, the hard and relentless fight of one man against the forces of evil. These dramatizations are designed to demonstrate forcibly to old and young alike that crime does not pay. The Shadow, who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. Years ago in the Orient, Cranston learnt a strange and mysterious secret, the hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the invisible shadow belongs.
Robert Durham, do you deny that on the 16th of December last, you received a visit from the late Stephen Reynolds in your room at the Maximilian Hotel?
Why, no. He came to see me.
Just answer yes or no. I'll ask you if I want you to enlarge on a question.
Yes.
Your Honor, for the information of the court, I'd like to point out that the defense has made much of the defendant's long and seemingly illustrious career of public service. They would have you believe that, like Caesar's wife, the defendant, Robert Durham, is above suspicion. They paraded witnesses to the stand who have told you of his philanthropy, of his unselfish devotion to public service, of his blameless personal life in the past. That we do not contest, refute, or deny. But unfortunately for Robert Durham, he is not being tried for his past. Your Honor, the Crown needs but one more piece of evidence to complete its case, and we have that evidence.
Silence! Silence!
I beg leave to show the jury a soundtrack motion picture of a meeting between the defendant and the late Stephen Reynolds, whose bribe of £10,000 paid to the defendant is the basis upon which this case is brought to trial.
Silence! Silence!
Has this motion picture a direct bearing on this case?
It has, Your Honor.
You may proceed, Mr. Crown Prosecutor.
Yes, come in. Oh, hello, Reynolds. I've been expecting you.
Now, look here, Durham. Why haven't I got the building contract for that new government housing project? The money's been appropriated. You said you'd use your influence to swing the deal after we fixed you up.
Of course, Reynolds. Told you would get that contract for consideration. But you didn't send me my gift of £20,000 for working it for you, so naturally...
Oh, so that's it. You want to be paid off first, then?
Yes, and in cash. No checks.
All right. You'll get your 20,000. Get me that contract. I'll be back in an hour with the money.
Silence! 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 That is the end of the film. It's a lie. A lie, I tell you. I never said that. Silence! Silence! Your Honor, I ask a short adjournment of this trial
in order that the defense may have an opportunity to study this film and soundtrack.
I object.
I do not see how the due process of law will be impaired by a 24-hour delay. Question dismissed. The court stands adjourned.
A man's reputation at stake. But the Shadow is not going to stand idly by and watch an innocent man be sent to prison. It's a tough fight he's buying into, but the Shadow's about to give blind justice a helping hand.
Everything's jake, Mr. Bogle. You certainly put it over. Pulling that sound picture out of the hat certainly did the trick.
Yes, but I'm still worried, Travers.
Oh, there's nothing to be worried about. Robert Durham's as good as on his way to Long Bay right now.
Well, I won't feel happy until he is. And now let's take a look at that Wesley murder case.
One case at a time, Mr. Bogle.
What was that?
Suppose we review the evidence of the case against Robert Durham.
What sort of devil's trick is this? What are you?
I am the Shadow, Mr. Bogle.
I can't see you.
Nevertheless, Bogle, I'm here in the shadows.
Cripes, boss. Somebody's talking and nobody's here.
Shut up, Travers. I'll handle this. So it's the Shadow. You've come here to play your hypnotic tricks on me. Travers, lock the door.
All right, boss. It's locked.
Melodrama won't help you, Bogle.
Cripes, boss, if I could only see this man. Boss, I feel something. I got him. I got him, boss. I can't see him, but I've got him. I can't see him, but I've got him. I've got the Shadow around the throat. He's a man after all. Gee, he's strong.
Kill him, Travers, kill him.
Perhaps he can. He's choking me. Give me a gun, boss.
You don't need a gun. It'll make too much noise.
He's weakening, boss.
Kill him, Travers. Put that stranglehold of yours on him.
If he doesn't let up, he will kill me.
Yes, yes, Shadow. This is where you die. Give him some more, Travers. I've got to hurry and take care of Wilson before he gets a chance to talk.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to assist at a little accident. Now walk to that window.
Oh, wait, you can't do this to me. You can't.
Walk.
All right.
Now, open the window, Wilson. Climb up on the windowsill.
Just a moment, Mr. Bogle.
Shadow. I thought Travers took care of you.
You thought Travers took care of me, did you, Bogle? Well, I admit he's a good wrestler. There was one little hold, Bogle, I learned from the Orient that he didn't know. He had me beaten for a moment. But that was my one chance to get you to lead me to Wilson.
You mean you followed me here?
Yes, I followed you here. It wasn't very difficult to get away from Mr. Travers. It seems I arrived just in time for my proof.
In time? No! There's Shadow. There's your proof lying dead on the floor.
You crazy fool, Bogle. You'll go to the gallows for this.
I'm not as crazy as you think. Yes, I'm a fool. You're the fool. You're the fool for coming here. The police will find you locked in this room with Wilson's dead body. They'll find you. I'll see that they do. And here's the gun you killed him with. Why don't you try the window? It's only 7 stories to the ground.
Shadow.
Boss, you all right?
Unlock the door, Margot. The key's on the outside.
Oh, Lamont, I heard the shots and I saw Vogel running out, so I couldn't wait.
Wilson, listen to me. Listen to me and think. Think. Tell me, how did you frame Robert Durham? Tell me that, Wilson. Tell me and I'll see that Vogel pays for doing this to you.
Robert Durham. How I remember. I'll show you. Help me into the next room. I'll show you.
I'll help you. Easy now, easy.
I'll get on the other side of him. There. Hey, look. It's a recording studio.
That's right. It's my hobby. I'm an actor and impersonator. It's my profession.
An impersonator?
Yes. Help me to that chair by the turntable. I impersonate people.
I've imitated Robert Durham's voice dozens of times. Hand me the microphone. Turn on the switch. There. I can't hold out much longer.
Here's the microphone.
Drop that needle on the wax record. And then the switch. This is Hugh Wilson speaking. I've just been shot by Anthony Vogel.
I've just been shot by Anthony Vogel. He hired me to impersonate the voice of Robert Durham. It's my voice on the soundtrack of the picture, shown at Durham's trial. I'll show you how I did it. Listen. Of course, Reynolds. I told you you'd get the contract for a consideration, but you didn't send me my gift of £20,000 for working it for you. So, naturally, that's how it was done. Yes, that's how I did it. Durham's innocent. He never uttered those words. I did it for him.
Silence!
Well, this is amazing. Incredible.
Your Honor, there is one more voice on the record at the end. Listen.
The voice you have heard is that of Hugh Wilson, murdered by Anthony Vogel, the man who sought to frame Robert Durham. But Vogel failed, just as in the end all crime must fail, and all criminals pay the penalty of death.
Silence!
Whose voice was that?
That, Your Honor, is the voice of the man to whom Robert Durham owes his vindication. The voice of the Shadow.
So concludes today's adventure of the Shadow.
I hate crime. She was a golden blonde. She had blue eyes and lines that had to be drawn with a compass. I knew her the minute she walked into my office. Peggy Mann, radio, stage, and screen actress. She was known as the blonde with $1 million smile. But she wasn't smiling now. And there was a gun in her hand. I told her I was in no mood to be shot. Besides, I didn't remember giving her any reason for cooling me off.
I want to give you this gun, Mr. Kent.
Oh, sort of delayed Christmas present, huh?
I want you to keep it.
Well, thanks, but I've already got 2 of my own. Besides, this is only a pea shooter. I like a gun with more kick.
This one is powerful enough. It just killed a man.
Oh? And who pressed the trigger?
I did.
Oh? Have a good reason?
I was being blackmailed.
Oh. By who?
Ziggy Perrone.
Never heard of him. Why were you being blackmailed?
Some pictures and letters that... I'd rather not talk about it.
Why did you shoot him?
He came to my flat this morning for another payment. I said I didn't have it.
And?
He produced this gun. He walked towards me. He said he was going to shoot me. Then he tripped. The gun fell from his hand.
Yeah?
I picked it up. He leapt at me. He tried to choke me. I fired. He fell. Lay there. Still.
Why didn't you phone the cops?
I was frightened. I didn't know what to do.
What do you expect me to do?
Well, Help me, of course.
Like getting rid of the body?
Could you?
No.
I'll make it worth your while.
Sorry, sweetheart. I'm a private detective, not a funeral director.
But if the police find him in my flat...
They'll ask you what he's doing there. They're funny about dead people, especially when they've been shot.
But it was self-defense.
Okay, then tell it to the boys in blue.
I thought you'd help me.
I will. But it has to be my way.
And what's your way?
First we look at the body. Then we get your story ready. Then we phone the cops.
But then they'll learn about the blackmail.
Can't be helped.
It'll get into the papers.
Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes the cops are as good at secrets as Russian diplomats. Come on.
Police file. True crime stories which made banner headlines in your newspapers. Stories as in the files of your police department and gathered from the files of one of the largest newspaper organizations in the Southern Hemisphere. Tonight we glance at the file on Harry Slattery. As usual, all names used are fictitious. But the facts are true in this story of first-class crime detection, where the CIB had two definite suspects in a murder case. But the bolter came home. A day in 1944, out near Yarrow Bay. A man stands at a tram stop, and a woman and child of 12 are not interested. But a man riding along the street on a push bike is very interested. The bike stops. The woman, later, says it was painted blue. The child swears it was old and a rusty brown. But who cares at that moment? Then suddenly...
You'll never do me or anybody else any harm again.
The woman's tonsils waved in the breeze. The transfixed kid decided that the movies were never like this. The murderer rode calmly away on his bike. And that is how Harry Slattery died.
Night beat.
Hi there. This is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Daily. Stories start in many different ways. This one began with an invitation to a party and ended with an invitation to death.
Night Beat, starring Hop McGuire as Randy Stone.
It was lying on my table when I came into the office one foggy, miserable afternoon. A flimsy envelope containing a telegram. You are invited to be at North Point Inn, Frankston, Saturday, 4th, 9 p.m. Good time promised. Signed, Rex. I read it. I reread it. Now, who the heck was Rex? Rex Manson? No, he was away in Europe. Rex Long. Well, he certainly wouldn't invite me to a party. And if he did, it wouldn't be in Frankston at the North Point Inn. North Point Inn, Frankston. That set something stirring in my mind, but I couldn't figure out just what. Not then I couldn't. Not even after a couple of days worrying about it. The Saturday night found me in Frankston. It was cold, and it was raining. The desolate countryside looked even more desolate, at least so far as I could see, peering through my streaming windscreen. If this invitation was a hoax, I was going to be good and sore, but who at? A name and a telegram? A heck of a lot of good that'd do me. But as I bumped over the lane leading to the inn, I figured I wouldn't have to be sore at anybody. Lieutenant Morrow was wrong. There was someone at the inn. Lights were shining, and a low-slung sports car was standing dismally to one side of the porch. I jumped out of the car, ran through the rain and a few puddles, and I pushed open the door of the inn and went inside. A tall, dark character who matched the sports car outside spun around as I came in.
Oh, good evening.
Yeah? What's so good about it?
Pretty dismal for a trip to the country, I'll admit. I'm just glad you got here on time. You're a little early, if anything.
Well, they taught me at school that it was a virtue to be punctual. Hey, is that a drink you got?
Yeah.
Well, if there's a waiter around, I'll join you.
There's a waiter around somewhere. If you call that... Oh, here he is. What are you having?
Scotch, please. Plenty of water, no ice. I need something to warm me up.
You can bring me another one, too, please, waiter.
Well, talkative, isn't he?
I'm beginning to wonder whether he's dumb. This place sure is creepy. Doesn't seem to be anybody around. Looks as though it hasn't been cleaned for weeks. And the waiter hasn't spoken a word since I arrived. I'll be glad to get out of it.
Well, the quicker you state your business, the quicker we can both get out of it.
The quicker I state my business. Now, look, mister, you're the... Oh, here's a drink.
Ah, just put it on the table. Waiter, I'll take this coat off. God damn.
Oh, here. Keep the change.
Well, perfect waiter, I would say. Fast service and no talk. Well, here's how.
Yeah. How?
Didn't you know Tony and I were married, Mr. Rex? You addressed my telegram my maiden name.
What do you want with us, Mr. Rex?
Hold everything, Tony. This guy's name is Rex.
It isn't.
Then where is Mr. Rex? And who are you? And what's it all about?
I can't answer any of those questions, I'm afraid, Myra. Maybe our friend here can.
Can you?
No, I'm afraid not. I got a telegram, too, signed by Mr. Rex, inviting me here tonight.
Ah. And you? Who are you?
My name's Stone. I'm a newspaper.
Oh, here's the waiter. Tony, let's have a drink.
Yeah, sure. I'll have a... Oh.
Who are those drinks for, waiter? Waiter, I asked you who ordered those...
Oh, what's the matter with him? Walking in with a tray of drinks and dumping them down on the table like that.
Maybe he's a mind reader. I noticed there's a brandy there, Tony. I guess you'll have that.
He knew what I was drinking. Here's a repeat.
That leaves one for you, Mr. Stone. Did you say your name was?
That's right. And this one will be yours, Mrs.
Robbins. Yes. That one will be mine.
Myra, what's wrong?
I didn't order a drink, did I?
None of us ordered this round.
That waiter, he wasn't here when we were here before, was he?
I don't recall him. 4 years, quite a time.
Quite a time. Too long for a waiter to remember.
Remember what, for heaven's sake?
That I always drink sherry with an olive in it.
Now, look here. Let's try and straighten this thing out. We all got telegrams inviting us to come to a party here. The telegrams were signed Rex.
Right. Stone?
Right.
And none of us know anyone called Rex. Right?
Right again.
The telegram said 9. Now, it's way past that now.
4 years ago, you all stayed here with the girl, Denise Radcliffe. She walked in her sleep, fell over the balcony above those windows over there, and was killed.
Who the devil are you? How do you know all this?
Are you some meddling detective trying to open up the case again?
Her death was accidental. She walked in her sleep. The coroner accepted that. If you think...
I'm not a detective, and I'm not trying to open up an old case. Just so happens your names were in the paper quite a lot at that time.
Sure. We did come in for some publicity.
Okay, Stone, what about this idea you said you had?
Well, I'm not sure it is an idea, but tonight is the anniversary of the Radcliffe girl's death. Now, somebody's brought you three together again. Now, if you can figure out a reason why someone should do that...
There isn't any reason. There can't be.
Listen.
Music. Where's it coming from?
Sounds as though it's right above us.
Her room. Denise's room. It's her favorite record. The one she played that night. Oh, I can't take it anymore.
Get quiet, Myra.
I've got to get away. I've got to get away from here. It's Denise's music. Played it the night she was detected her. We were in her room.
Shut up, or I'll...
Go on, Tony, say it. You'll kill me.
I'm sorry. Can't somebody stop that music? Stop it! Go upstairs and stop it!
Why don't you go, Tony?
I guess it's not much use any of us going, unless somebody's got a torch.
Let's get out of here. What are we hanging around for?
What's the use? We couldn't get across the bridge.
At least we're dry here. We're able to...
What's that? Sounds like something...
Chair. Every morning the maid put the chair near the bed. Every night she shifted. It's the chair. It's Denise shifting the chair.
Listen, lady, there's no ghost pushing a chair around. Now, I'm going up, torch or no torch. Porter, come on.
It's no use, Stone. I'm staying here. Tony's told us the place is completely deserted.
Why didn't I?
Myra, what do you say?
She was killed. She was. I knew it. I knew
Myra,
it.
for heaven's sake.
She's coming back to avenge herself. Why didn't I know it? Heaven help me.
Myra, stop it. Tony, do something, will you? Make her pull herself together.
To Tony, it's you.
It's a trick. It's a devilish trick. The dead. They can't come back.
You made sure she was dead, didn't you? You made sure.
You're out of your mind. You're crazy. You don't know what you're saying.
I heard you that night. Your room, it was on the other side of mine. I heard you going to her room. I heard you coming back after you'd married.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I loved you. I loved you so much I kept quiet. I said I'd heard nothing. Nothing.
You didn't hear anything. You're lying. Lying, do you hear? Admit it. Admit you're lying.
Keep away, Rick. Keep away.
Leave her alone, Tony. She's mad. She's crazy. She doesn't know what she's saying. She's got to stop it. I'll make her stop it. I'll make her. The music. Who's playing that music?
Maybe Myra's right. Maybe it is Denise.
Denise is dead. She's dead.
Someone brought us here tonight. Someone knows us as well as Denise knew us. Someone or something not human.
She's dead. Denise is dead. She can't come back. She's dead. I saw her die. I saw her die.
Myra's right. You killed her. You murdered Denise. Well, I'm going to give you what you gave her. You...
Now, cut it out, Porter. The law will take care of him.
Nobody's going to touch me. Nobody.
Tony! Tony, come back! Tony! Oh, Tony!
We heard his car drive quickly away. We went after him, but I guess he was crazy. Too crazy to drive a car. Especially over a flooded bridge. He was dead when we found him. We didn't go back to the inn. We didn't try to solve the mystery of Mr. Rex, the dumb waiter, or the music. A dead girl had been avenged, and we left it at that. At least for them. Copy, boy.
Witch's Tale. The fascination of the eerie, weird, blood-chilling tales told by old Nancy, the witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise black cat. They're waiting for you now.
A 106-year-old I be today. Yes, sir. 106-year-old. Well, Satan, give word to douse all lights and we'll get right down to business. Meow! That's right. Make it nice and dark and cheerful. For we likes gloom and shadow. Now, draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into 'em deep, and soon you'll see a crowded ballroom in a fine big house in New York City. And there, midst happiness and laughter, begins our tale about the power of Lucifer. The power of Lucifer!
All evening you've forsaken me, and now you're doing it again.
I am. And unless you curb your romantic ardor, I'll make you take me back in there and dance.
I'll be good. It's too nice to be out here with you and away from all those people.
You don't like the crowds here, do you?
Oh, they're all right, I suppose, but I don't understand them. I'm just a plain businessman. Hindu poets, Armenian artists, and Turkish musicians are way over my head.
Since Mrs. Brewster decided to patronize the art, she's certainly had some very strange people at her affairs.
Strange? They seem lunatics to me. What particular sort of culture does the chap go in for who's been monopolizing you all evening?
Mr. Orloff?
No, that's his name. I didn't catch it when we were introduced. Russian, isn't he?
I imagine so, though he didn't mention his nationality.
What does he do for a living?
I don't know.
Spent enough time with him to have learned his whole life's history.
You weren't jealous?
Of course not. I merely ask about him because, well, he's such a peculiar-looking chap, and I'm curious to know what there is about him that held your interest for so long.
I don't know that either. He's a very strange person. He's talked a steady stream from the moment I met him. Yes, I know nothing about him at all.
What did he talk about?
Well, a subject that I've only heard of in a vaguer sort of way before. Devil worship.
Devil worship?
Yes. Not medieval witchcraft or anything like that. It's something that exists today. Cult of Lucifer, he called it.
Cult of Lucifer?
It's a religious sect, he said, that has churches, ordained priests, and a ceremonial.
And he said this cult of Lucifer is active now?
Yes, all over the world, right here in New York. He talked so much about it, I've an idea he himself remembers. Warren, there's something horrible about that man. 5 minutes after I met him, he was absolutely repulsive to me.
Yet you danced with him all evening.
I don't know why. After the first dance, I wanted to get away. Yet, when he asked me for another, I'd have been with him yet if you hadn't come for me. And I'd made up my mind not to say anything about all this. It sounds so silly. Oh, but I'm glad I've told you. I want you to stay with me for the rest of the evening. Don't leave me for a moment. And if Mr. Orlov asks me to dance with him again, you make some excuse. Don't let me.
Are you intimating that you can't refuse this man yourself?
Yes. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I'm afraid of that man, Warren. Terribly afraid.
Oh, there they are, Mrs. Brewster.
My dear Catherine, we've been looking everywhere for you and Warren.
Oh, just sitting out a dance, Mrs. Brewster. Won't you join us? Don't worry, darling. You're Mr. Orloff. Won't bother you now.
You and Warren must become better acquainted with this gentleman, Doctor. He's been everywhere, seen everything, and, oh, he's told me of the most interesting things. Catherine, my dear, did he tell you of that perfectly intriguing sect he calls the Cult of Lucifer?
Yes, Mr. Orloff told me a great deal about it.
What is the Cult of Lucifer? Simply a group, or rather many groups, of people who believe that evil is a more potent factor in this world than good. Consequently, they worship the Lord of Evil and serve him, not by what orthodox religionists call worthy acts, but by bringing sorrow and trouble wherever they can.
Did you ever hear of anything so perfectly fascinating?
There are idiots in this world who go in for anything. The cult of Lucifer is not composed of idiots, Doctor. You may have heard it said that the devil takes care of his own. He endows his most ardent disciples with great power. So I am told. Oh, rot. Perhaps. Of course, I am only speaking hearsay.
Oh, naturally. It's delightfully interesting to think about, but one wouldn't wish to be acquainted with people who believe such things personally, would one?
I don't think so, Mrs. Brewster.
I know darn well I wouldn't.
Now, I simply must return to my other guest. You'll excuse me, won't you?
By all means,
yes, of course. You poor lovely people mustn't stay out here too long, though. See you in the ballroom.
Well, no one gets me back in there. I'm in my right senses.
May I hope that Mrs. Craig will return to the ballroom very soon as my partner for the next dance, perhaps? Shall we go now? The music has begun.
Yes.
Catherine?
I
have your permission, of course, Mr. Craig. Yes. Thank you. Well, Mrs. Craig, we shall
Join you, gentlemen.
Say, Warren, what's the matter with you? You look as though someone had hit you over the head.
Doctor, what? That man made me say yes when I wanted to say no. He walked away with Catherine when I wanted to stop him, and she didn't want to go.
What are you talking about?
By the Lord, he isn't going to get away with it.
Warren, where are you going?
Hold on. Hold on. Wait, come back here. Hold on.
Are you calling me, Mr. Gray?
Yes, come back here, brother.
Oh, you're making a scene. What's the matter with you,
You'll
Warren?
soon find out, and so will he.
Why have you called me, Mr. Gray?
You know well enough. But step out here on this balcony and I'll tell you. Let go of his arm, Catherine, and come here to me.
Warren.
Come here to me.
Go to your husband, Mrs. Gray.
Yes.
What kind of a game are you playing? She couldn't even take her hand from your arm until you let her. When she told me you'd made her dance with you all evening against her will, I didn't know what to think. But now I do, because you just worked the same hypnotic trick on me. I don't like to be tricked, Mr. Orr. And I don't want hypnotists experimenting on my wife. She's not dancing with you anymore, that's all.
Not quite all, Mr. Gray. Your tone has been both loud and insulting. Dr. Farmer has been a witness, and others have been attracted by your word. It is your privilege to say I cannot dance with your wife, but I expect an apology.
You won't get it all.
It may be in my power to compel it.
Not from me.
You will apologize to me, Mr. Gray, before these people.
I apologize to you, Mr. Orr.
I thank you. But now that you have made it, I choose not to accept your apology, Mr. Gray. You will feel that Ivan Orloff is a most vindictive man. Good night.
Pagan Circus, the show of shows. The suspicion that Armoured Bay is the saboteur planted in the outfit by Luigi Mansella to prevent the circus opening in Brisbane is crystallized by the sudden disappearance of this man. Christine, spending a day in the mountains with her fiancé, Tony Walton Smith, learns of this when she returns to the hotel. For John Hagan, in an attempt to face Armoured Bay with a charge of treachery, goes to the man's residential to find every trace of the artist vanished completely. Late that same Monday night, as Christine is talking with Gail, Dr. Playford comes to the girl's room to say that a young woman came knocking on his door in a state of extreme terror. Playford tells them that the girl calls herself Stella Ricardo, and that she met the good doctor in the house of Armoured Bay.
Armoured Bay?
Only then she was supposedly sleeping in a glass coffin and calling herself the Princess Zenobia.
Doctor! Surely this is some joke.
You wouldn't think that if you could see the poor child. I've never seen anyone quite so scared.
But, well, this girl...
It's the same girl, right enough. Only had to take one look at her to see that.
But what's she doing here and at this hour of the night?
That's what I mean to find out. The child is so shaken, I thought the presence of another woman might help. That's why I came along to you, Chris.
What's all the disturbance in here?
Dad?
I could hear you halfway down the passage. Next thing you'd have the management complaining.
Chris, explain to your father. I'm going back to that girl.
Girl? What girl?
The girl in Dr. Playford's room, Dad.
A girl in Edgar's room? At this time of the night? For heaven's sake, what's going on here?
Dad, relax.
The deuce is Edgar thinking about? Is he taking complete leave of his senses?
Dad, will you listen? Dr. Playford says this girl is the Princess Zenobia.
Only she's not the Princess Zenobia at all. Her real name is Stella Ricardo.
And she came beating on the doctor's door about 10 minutes ago in a state of complete panic.
Are you all completely off your heads?
We're only repeating what Dr. Playford told us, Dad.
Oh, come on.
Dad!
We're going down to Edgar's room. It's either softening of the brain or delirium tremens. In any case, we should be there, so come on. All the confounded nonsense. And at this hour of the night. No wonder circus folk get such a bad reputation.
But, Dad, Dr.
Keep your voice down, Gail. Don't you think anyone wants to sleep in this hotel?
I was only going to say that Dr. Playford wouldn't make up a story like this.
Shouldn't be at all surprised if the old rascal's been drinking.
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Dad, we're going faster and faster. We're going downhill. And look, there's a tree fallen right across the roadway.
Why, look. Look there in the sky.
What is it?
It's a man.
Why, he's flying.
It can't be. It's not possible.
Dad, he's coming straight at us. He's swooping down, coming through the roof. Dad!
Quick, grab hold of me.
No, put me down. Let me go. Let me go.
One under each arm. Up through the top. Hold on. The bus. It's going to crash.
Well, we got out of that just in time. The bus is a wreck. Smashed into 1,000,000 pieces.
Where are you going? What are you going to do to us?
What's happening? Put us down.
Don't be frightened. You're all right. I had to get you out of there in a hurry. Pulling you out through the roof was the only way. Now we're going down again. Down, down, down. There you are. Safe and sound in a field.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Oh, it's quite all right, Professor. Getting you and the boy out of that bus was nothing.
I can't believe it.
Who are you, anyway? Where did you come from?
I have no name. I come from a world that no longer exists. Here in this world of yours, men would call me a Superman.
Tarzan, King of the Apes.
When Tarzan left them at the hut, Jane and Esmeralda felt lonely and frightened. Now all their menfolk had disappeared into the jungle, the strange ape-man, too. Hoping that he would quickly return with her father and his friends, Jane looked about the hut and wondered about Tarzan. The hut was his. There was obviously some connection between him and the 3 gruesome skeletons that were lying there. Jane didn't know that 20 years before there had been a mutiny on a ship off this coast, and that Lord and Lady Greystoke had been put ashore on just this spot. She didn't guess that an English noblewoman had stared fearfully into this same jungle and wondered about the future, for herself and for her unborn child. But Jane's thoughts about the past were disturbed by a huge lioness padding around outside. When the door held against it, the 2 women thought they were safe. But then he stood on his hind legs and pushed against the wooden bars of the window. The bars gave, and the great sleek head forced its way in. For a second, he and Esmeralda listening to each other in terror. Then Jane sees an old rifle standing against the wall.
Stay here, Esmeralda. You'll be safe for a moment. Oh, Esmeralda. He's fainting. We're breathing through the rifle. No! Oh, I mustn't get wounded. I gotta kill him. Oh, it's empty. The gun's empty. Oh,
Otah dead. You safe. Thanks to you, I'm safe. That boar would have gored me to death. I had nothing to protect myself with.
Not come in jungle alone. Savage animal, kill.
I certainly won't risk it unarmed in future. But for the most part, you fought him with your bare hands. I think you'd have killed him even without your knife. Who are you?
I, Tarzan.
My name is Cecil Clayton. I wish there was some way I could express my gratitude to you. That's twice you've helped us now.
Not understand.
On the beach with the sailors, you stopped that man from shooting Miss Fortune.